beautiful friends. Oh my gosh, it has been so long since I've been live on my personal page. And the second I had even an hour to spare, my first thought was, I have to go live. I have to go live. I have to connect with my peeps again. So we're going to keep this super casual, but we're going to dive in. I did a post asking people if they had any questions. Will somebody tell me if my video is choppy? It's like doing this, like I'm coming at me at the screen. Let me know if my video is good for you guys and if you can hear me. If not, I will start over. But I did a post asking for some questions, and I got 2 questions so far from Taylor. I know it was super last minute, so if you hop on and you have any other questions, please, please, please ask. But let me move my screen real fast because this choppiness is not going to work for me. So let me actually just scroll my video up so I can't see myself. And if you guys, if it looks normal for you, please, please let me know. But first question was, how do you keep the momentum going when you start receiving money? So, this is a great question because so many people, when they start to dive into their wealth, they start to dive into their money energy, and they start to actually transform and create the consistency. Thank you, Monica, for letting me know. That's awesome. They start to dive in, it starts to flow. Well, what starts to happen is manifestation can take you so far, and then you start to plateau. I tell people, when logic doesn't work, manifest. And when manifestation doesn't work, go to strategy. And I alternate that back and forth. Even my husband, when things are just not going right, he's like, okay, I'm going to hop onto my Joe Dispenza podcast again. I'm going to be journaling. I'm going to be doing my vision board because sometimes you just have to surrender to that energy. Now, I know that wasn't Taylor's specific question, but I did want to bring that up because I see so many people want to dive into manifestation and hope that they can just create everything possible and not ever work a day in their life. And is that possible? Absolutely. But do you have control over that? Mm-mm. So I like both. I like to create the big amounts of manifestation, but I like to create the logical action steps so that I have that continual income coming in. So, how do I keep the momentum going when I'm starting to receive money? Number one, I always look at what is working, and I do more of what is working. I see so many people go from, they'll create something and it worked and it was super awesome, and then all of a sudden they're on to this new idea already, and they're not just continually doing what's working over and over and over. I'm actually working in my business right now to do where I just have 2 full launches a year, and that's all I do. 2 full launches, get me to $500,000 a year. That'll work. Once I get there, boom, then I'll create a new idea of what I'm going to add in for right there. But that's kind of my plan right now. And so many people, though, they'll be like, they'll throw spaghetti at the wall and just hope like it all works. And they'll be like, okay, this worked. And they're like, I'm going to try this now. And they get in creation mode. Creation mode is great, but creation mode kills so many of my clients because they're such visionaries and they can create all this stuff they want. But instead of just doing the same thing over and over and really mastering it, they start adding 10 more things and it just doesn't work. So that's number one. Do more of what's working and less of what's not. The next thing that I want to add is, oh, thank you, Portia. And I'll get to all of your guys' questions too after I get through these questions. The next thing I say is too many people, they don't actually plan out the next thing they're launching. So, for example, if I already know the whole rest of the year what I'm launching, and not only that, what am I pre-launching behind the scenes? So, for example, right now I'm launching my Finance Your Destiny. It's my most famous course I have. People love it. And I'm launching that, as well as with that, they get free tickets to my live 2-day in-person money energy workshops. So I'm launching those 2 things. Well, behind the scenes, I have other things launching, like my Building Your Destiny, my merchandise, things like that, to get me rolling, while also I'm planning my launch after my launch for the Finance Your Destiny and Money Energy workshop. And so you just have to constantly be thinking. I notice so many people, they'll go and say they'll launch a retreat or something. They launch a retreat. Well, that's great. Now the retreat's full, but now they started the retreat and now they have to start from the beginning thinking about what do I have to launch now to create more money, instead of in the middle of this launch be pre-launching something else while also thinking about what the next launch is. And so it's just getting really organized and really consistent. Consistency is huge when it comes to creating that momentum of receiving money, especially because Taylor, I do know you're in the middle of a big move and stuff. And so you should be thinking about the second I move, what's the first thing I'm launching? What am I going to be doing? How am I going to be bringing in new people? Or how am I keeping everything online so that I have something for my old people? And so you're just being very, very, very consistent. So many times people just focus on one project at a time, which I'm kind of contradicting myself from the first thing I told you of like focus on that one thing and master that one thing. But if you have multiple things that you've already mastered, you have to be thinking of the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But if you're at the beginning, just think about, okay, I'm going to launch this one thing, master this one thing, but I'm already planning my launch for this one thing again, how that's going to look. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. For those of you in business, it'll make sense. But really just creating that consistency. The next question I got was, what's your favorite way to network and find clients in a new city? My number one suggestion is join all of the groups. So before I moved to Vegas, I joined all these mom groups, all these business groups, all these like classified groups for Las Vegas, specifically the area I was moving to as well. And I just joined all the groups. Anytime I saw there was like a girls' night out, I went to it. Anytime I saw there was like salad in a jar parties were like a big thing over there. And so I would go to that. And that's where I met most of my people. I would go support other people's businesses. I would go to other networking events. I would go to different events in Vegas. I would post, say, hey, I want to do a girls' night out. Like, who wants to join on the classifieds page? So it's like, how are you just reaching all of the people? Go join and visit a BNI group around there in that area. That's a great way to network with higher level people within business. That's what I did. I just did all of the things. I supported other people's business, always serve first before you ask to receive. So I would serve. I would join all these little mom groups on Facebook. I would join these business groups. Anywhere I could meet people, I would meet people because these people know hundreds of people. And so if you can just be connected to one new person and find a friend, those people know people. So I'd say go into that town, go into that city looking for friends, not looking for business. Because when you just go in to crush business, it just doesn't work. Even right now, I have a certain amount of time set aside each week to do just lunch dates. Just one-on-one lunch dates to get to know people because those people know people. I'm driving to Salt Lake on Friday and I have some lunch dates. I have some client dates. I'm going to a little like girls' night party in the evening because I do whatever I can when I'm in a new location, even if I'm traveling on vacation, to find all the places I could hang out to meet new people because people are your opportunity. People are your opportunity no matter where you're at. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I think I got all of the pre-questions asked. So if you guys have any questions on the side, please ask, whether it has to do with personal questions, relationship questions, business questions, money questions, whatever it is. So Monica asks, I know this is being asked, but how did you start this money journey? You are so inspiring. I thoroughly enjoy hearing what you have to say. So I do have a lot of new friends and followers, so I will kind of tell you a little bit about my story. If you want kind of the full thing, you guys go join my free Expand Your Destiny Facebook group. And if you click on announcements, my story's in there, the long-term story. But how I got started on this money journey was my son was diagnosed with a thing called FPIES, food protein induced enterocolitis, and he was allergic to all food, vomit to shock, blah, 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 blah. Doctors gave him a label because I didn't know what to do with him. He became a test rat. I pulled him out of the hospital and I ended up healing him myself. Well, with that, we had hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of debt. And it was just, that's the thing that was going to tear my relationship apart. We were just screaming at each other all the time, on the verge of divorce. I'm not going to go super sappy with my story, but it was a hard time, hard time. We tried the Dave Ramsey thing because that's what you're supposed to do, you know, snowball your debt, focus on debt, pay it off, get it all down. And you guys, I was making good money. I was making 80 bucks an hour. But at that time, when crisis hits, you realize that no matter how much money you make, if you are not prepared to be in creation mode to create more when crisis hits, it's nothing. 80 bucks an hour is nothing when all of a sudden you rack up hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt. Like it's nothing. I still have to work an hour to make $1. I still had to get a person on my massage table to make money, and I can only do so many massages. And I was like, there just has to be a different way. There has to be. And so we paid off about half of our debt within 2 months doing Dave Ramsey. And I was like, I just can't do this because then our car would break and it would backtrack us again. And we couldn't just eat rice and beans because my son had food allergies. And so we were spending $1,100 a month just on groceries. And so it was just a really hard time. And it wasn't until I started diving into money energy and really diving into there has to be a different way. So instead of bringing our mindset down to zero every single month, I got really big into the creation and the manifestation and the mindset tools and how do we really transform our life. And that's when I got into vision boards and declarations and all of the foundational stuff I still go back to this day. If you guys are not doing it, I don't care how rich you are, I don't care how big of a system you have in your business, you will not find happiness within your wealth. You will still feel poor if you do not know how to manifest. I will tell you that right now. So we dived into that and we took a risk because anybody that knows anything about money energy, most of the time, the life you're living right now is not the life you're supposed to be living to create abundance and to be able to serve other people in this world. And so we took a risk. My husband moved to Vegas, homeless for a month. I stayed back to sell our house, and that was our journey. And it created opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, which has brought me to where I am now. I did gut health for about 7 years for kids with autoimmune and food allergies. Social sabotage hit. Some really mean people within the FPIES Foundation and the FPIES Facebook group became very evil and mean. And like, I got massively publicly shamed. I was going to have my own radio show. Like, I was really growing big. And I didn't have the mental tools on how to deal with that at that time. And so, guess what? Same thing. Tap into what I know, tap into the foundational stuff that I know what to do, and it created even better opportunities. And so it's really just been amazing to see that I have learned how to not put a price tag on my intuition. If I have to jump and sell it all tomorrow, I will. If I have to jump and quit it all tomorrow, I will, because I'm not afraid and money is not attached to me. I can create massive amounts of money, but I'm okay if I have zero. And most people are not okay with that. And so you really have to understand your cycles with money, and you have to understand and be willing to jump and look bad and let go of your ego to really be able to dive into what you want in this life. And so that's kind of a little bit of my journey. My story is definitely way longer. I talk about it at my Money Energy event, so I hope you guys are all coming to that in September, but that's the gist of it. So anyone new hopping on, if you have questions, please post them on the side. I'm here for you until 1, but I will go until we don't have any more questions. So if you're journaling all these things, how do you manage it and be invested in it? I honestly am learning. I get so overwhelmed and get anxiety if I have too much. So, how do I manage if you start to reach out more and get more involved? I'm not sure I understand the question. So, as I talk, and if you want to kind of clarify the question, I'll dive into it, but I'll kind of, oh, if you're joining, not journaling, that's why. If you're joining all of these, how do you manage it? And be invested in it. Honestly, I'm learning to, okay, so here's what I will tell you, it becomes your strategy. So I think I've had this talk before, but I want you guys to know, as you're doing new things, you have to let go of old things. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with everything you have going on, it's because you're adding to your plate. So everything's getting heavy, but you're not actually taking away the things that don't work for you anymore. You're not taking away the things that are not supposed to be in your life anymore. So the second, let me tell you a story. So this week, my venue completely crapped on me. I have to find a new venue for my event. Kind of overwhelming for a last minute thing during COVID, right? Because I'm trying to find a place so they're not making you do all of the XYZ and this or that. Like, I want people to have a place to come and forget about worldly matters right now and just be and be able to manifest and create and belong and just like, oh, I have it how I want to look. I tried for a while. I was like, spent all day trying to find venues. And finally, I was like, you know what? This is not where I should be spending my time. So I literally just hired somebody to make phone calls, find me a venue, give me all the details, come back with here are your options. So I just have to pick. I put money into that. I just spent it. I hired it out. I hire out someone to come pick up the poo in my backyard. Our lawn care people just came today. CV Lawn King, shout out, super amazing people. They come once a week and do my lawn care. And I know it seems overwhelming, but if you hire out all of these things, it makes time for you to have to be able to create money. And so when I first made my investment of first hiring a nanny, I had no way to pay my nanny. No way. But I was like, I have no way to do it without having a nanny. And so what I did was made the investment, and guess what? I sure worked my ace off to make it happen because I had to pay her at the end of the month. And so now I have a website person, I have a VA, I'm bringing on another assistant. Like, I have all of these things that I just trust, even though I don't know how to work out. I added almost like 20 people to help me promote and be a part of my sales team. Like, it's like all of these things that I'm responsible for. But guess what? It makes me actually have to work harder because I either sink or swim. I put myself in sink or swim situations quite a bit because it's what makes you actually move. Because you're not going to die, you guys. You're not going to die. So I'd say if you guys are overwhelmed, number one, you're missing you're combining personal and business life. You've got to separate it. When you're 100% with your family, you're 100% with your family. When you're 100% with your business, you're 100% with your business. But also know there's going to be certain times in your life when you're going to have to sacrifice some family time. And there's going to be certain times in your life when you're on vacation with your family that you're going to have to sacrifice business or let other people run it. And so I would say anytime people tell me they're overwhelmed, it's because they haven't changed their schedule. They are eliminating probably the new things they're going after and not the old things that they had going on, and they're just taking on too much. And you are only one person. You can only take on so much. So what do you need to detox? What do you need to delegate? And what do you maybe need to kind of transform? I'm actually going to write that down. That's a good one. Detox, delegate, and I'm going to work on the last word, transform. Transform or change or shift. But what needs to happen in your life to create the lifestyle that you want? Because so many of you make it so difficult because you're making fear-based decisions versus logical decisions, but you don't take the jump because you don't know what the outcome is going to look like on the other side. So that's what I would say for that. So hopefully that's super helpful for you. Any other questions? If not, I'll let you guys go, but I'll stay on for a minute to see if any other questions pop up. But what I will say is no matter where you're at right now, you're here for a moment and you're here for a reason, and really utilize your life to create the life that you want. Just because you're creating more doesn't mean you're taking from anyone else. Everybody has the ability to create, but we're so formed off of our DNA and off of our money belief system of how we were trained from the ages of 0 to 9, that it does take a lot of internal work to really break through those shifts. And so I really believe in the law of attraction, but I believe in the law of action. You have to dive in and do the deep work, and then once you dive in and do the deep work and you can recognize your sabotages, recognize your cycles, actually dig into the dark for a minute, and then process through it so you can take the actions that are scarier and different, which means you have to surround yourself with people that also take those type of action steps. I can almost guarantee you either number one, you're not spending your time with anybody throughout the week that is on a path that makes you feel like you're on a path, or number two, you're not actually taking the scary, fearful action steps and doing things differently. So community is everything, you guys, which is why I host events, which is why I put on my group programs, which is why I carve out time to do lunches with people every single day, or not every single day, but every single week. I think I've already had 3 lunches this week, because it's important, you guys. You cannot do this alone. You can't. So quit taking on all of these other things over here and actually spend time and to meet new people, to do new things, to whatever it is. Anytime I have the opportunity to go on like I'm all of a sudden in this like horse world, and don't get me going on horses, but it's like anytime someone's like, hey, I'd love to come help you, or hey, I'd love to just go on a horse ride, every night, or whatever it is. It's like I'm meeting those people that just I can spend time with, that have the same interests with me, but also want to grow in their lifestyle. So we can just sit around and talk and hang out and make it happen. So don't be so caught up all the time in money and the I gotta work hard to make it happen. Sometimes just having friends and making connections actually brings you in the income you're looking for. So I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you later. Once again, you are not, we have people flying in all over the world to come to the 2-day money energy workshop. Location to be determined, but it will be in Cache Valley, so I'm super excited about that. And or Financial Destiny is coming up at the end of August, and I cannot wait for that. That's where people manifest $20,000, $90,000, $50,000 within 4 weeks, doing the principles I'm talking about here. You will learn the mindset tools, but you will also learn the logical action steps that you need to take to move forward while having yourself accountable every single day, so that I can catch you in your sabotages, I can catch you in your downfalls, and we will just create the life that you want to create. So super excited. Love you guys. Have a good